And God saw that it was good. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Time with friends. A hike outside on a beautiful day. Beautiful music. Making a birdie on the 18th hole. A conversation with a spouse. Watching your child perform in a play. Most, if not all of us, are blessed with many of these and like experiences that make for what we would call good days. Now, everyone's list would be different, and that is okay. That is what makes our experiences here real. This day, known worldwide and for thousands of years as Good Friday, is the most somber of holy days in the Christian tradition. We just heard the Passion from the Gospel of John, which began with Jesus' arrest in the hillside gardens of Gethsemane, progressed through the hearings and trials in the courts of very powerful people, powerful in human terms, that is, and then followed the path of Jesus to the rock quarry just outside the city gates called Golgotha. Along the way, Jesus was betrayed and denied and scourged and spat upon, beaten, ridiculed, and ultimately killed. None of these things would make our good list. And yet we label this day with that adjective. Now, there are some etymologists who draw a connection between good and holy in ancient English usage, and that may be true. But I do believe that there is something deeper than that. Something good that traces through God's ancient story. That story began with creation in the first chapter of the book of Genesis. In that one chapter, the word good is used 7 times. After God said, "Let there be light," God saw that the light was good. God saw goodness after forming the dry ground and bringing forth vegetation and creating the sun and the moon and the animals in the sea and the beings that crawl on the earth. And in the last verse of that opening chapter, shortly after creating humankind, God surveyed the entirety of creation and knew that it was very good. God created all of these amazing building blocks, but left much work to be done. Creative energy that continues even today. God gifted humankind, the creation in God's image, with the responsibility to subdue and hold dominion over all of these good things. The treacherous nature of this gift is filled with boundless potential, and it is humbling responsibility to foster and enhance and develop God's creation. Yet, we are so used to possessing this amazing blessing that we forget what the act of the gift teaches us about relationships and about life itself. Instead of dictating or directing each step that we take, God opened up an opportunity for us to be partners with God, to participate in the world in which we live. That is not what we expect from an all-powerful being. If any human had that kind of power, that person would hoard it for themselves. We would do the same. God gives it away. When we take the time to recognize God's blessings, we are called to love. We call it love. There are many times that God was and will be disappointed with how humans use God's creation, like in how we treat one another, or how we forget about love when love doesn't work in our benefit, or when we imagine that God gave this to us and not to those other people. But God never stops loving us and always considers the creation to be very good. So that leads us back to this day we call good. We grieve for every step that Jesus took on that day, but Jesus willingly made each and every one of them. We fear the pain and the suffering and the death that Jesus experienced because beyond those experiences is the great mystery. Jesus, on the other hand, steps right into death. He gave of himself. He shared his life as an example that through death comes resurrection. And for that, it is good. We can't put our minds around our own resurrection, but Jesus promises us that it is even greater than the gift given to us through our creation. It is eternal and is more than anything that we can imagine. But let's be clear. That doesn't mean that we are supposed to wait patiently for death to take us. We have a responsibility to live, to discern God's call for us, to be God's partner in bringing justice and peace, not to us as individuals, but to all of God's creation. For each of us, that call nags us to care for those in need, to seek justice for those on the margins, and to reflect deeply on how we might need to transform ourselves. As we move through life, parts of us will die while others are reborn as we come closer to God's dream. As we journey through this day called good, remember God's good gifts that became known to us through Christ's death on this day, this holy day called good.